This is review problem number 4 for assessment number 7. It says solve the following equation on the interval 0 to 2 pi. And this is the equation cosine x plus 2 sine x cosine x equals 0. Now 0 to 2 pi, the reason they're restricting us here is they don't want to have a bunch of coterminal angles for our answer. They only want the angles between 0 and 360 degrees essentially. So they're excluding all the other coterminal angles so that we don't have infinite type of solutions for those angles. Now the first thing I want to do in this problem is I see that I have two different functions. That usually causes us issues. But I have cosine x that's in both of them. Both terms has cosine x. So because it says equals 0, I automatically think, can I get this to the zero product property? Well, I can if I factor out cosine x. So I'm going to factor out cosine x, put it on the outside, and I end up with 1 plus 2 sine x on the inside. When I divide out the cosine, I get 1. When I divide out cosine x, I get 2 sine x equals 0. Zero product property now I can use because I have a multiplication. So that means cosine x has to equal 0, or 1 plus 2 sine x has to equal 0. Cosine x, well, this is already set equal to 0. Let's solve this one for a second. So we're going to subtract the 1, and we get 2 sine x equals negative 1. Divide by 2, and we get sine x equals negative 1/2. So I have cosine x equals 0, or sine x equal negative 1/2. Now, if I get the unit circle out, I can figure out where is cosine equal to 0. So first of all, cosine being equal to 0, we know cosine is 0 at pi over 2. It's also 0, and you can see that there. It's also 0 at 3 pi over 2. So I'm going to write the degrees first. So I'm going to write 90 and 270 degrees. So I know that my x value could equal 90 degrees or 270 degrees. And then on this side, if I look at sine, when is sine equal to negative 1/2? Well, I know sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrants. So if you look here, I've got sine being negative 1/2 at 210 degrees. So we can say 210 degrees. So x could equal this. Or if I look on this side, I've got sine being negative 1/2 at 330 degrees. So my solutions to this problem are x equals 90 degrees, 210 degrees, 270 degrees, and 330 degrees. But they ask me for the interval 0 to 2 pi. So because they said 0 to 2 pi, what they're expecting is they're expecting radians. So I just go back through and I look and I say, all right, what's the radians for 90? The radians for 90 are pi over 2. So I can say x equals pi over 2. 210 is 7 pi over 6. 270 is 3 pi over 2. And 330 would be 11 pi over 6. And so my solutions in radians are those 4 angles. So if we go back and we plug in those 4 angles into that problem, we should get 0 for each of those.